Well, hey guys, Backwaters Brenton, giving you a shanty boat update. Here's my useless helper, Wavy Gravy. Wavy, why don't you show off your little bandana? Hey. Hey, you're lazy. Why don't you get up and help? Okay, anyways. So, this is what I've been doing lately. If you can see that ridge that's on the top of the cabin there, 2x4s, I actually got those from a pallet. That's what the design of these boats have desperately needed, is some kind of lip that sends water that accumulates on the flat roof away from the cabin. So if you remember, if you look back to the earlier episodes of this refurb, is what I should call it, there were angled walls that came down. Well, what would happen is, if you imagine without those ridges that I just put up there, or the 2x4s, the water would just run down the walls, which is about the stupidest design I think I've ever seen in my life. It's almost begging for water intrusion, especially when they don't cap them correctly or just barely. I think they just decided these were like disposable boats that are only going to last a couple of years until people sink them or retire them to their field, or who knows. But so I just took some 2x4s. This is like the easiest solution, but by no means, you know, the best or right solution necessarily. But I screwed in some 2x4s along the roof line, flush with the roof up top there, along the side caps, and then I extended it out a little bit here, because I really don't need it to go all the way to the back. I mean, I could, but I really think I'm just mostly protecting these corners, because that's where the water seems to run off, is down the corners. And I've caulked it really good. So yeah, it's like a gutter, or it's like a roof extension on a house. I mean, this is basically all this is just like a little house on some holes. So I think that's gonna be the solution. I haven't done the other side yet, so I'll just kind of remind you guys what I'm talking about here. When it rains again, I will get my answer, so you can see that this side. Now, the fact that I have extended the walls out about, you know, a quarter of an inch, or does mean that the little cap that they put on top isn't protecting it's not sending the water away from the walls. It never really did in the first place. It has a little bit of a lip, but not enough. And the fact that I have squared off these cabin walls, I think, is going to be much more practical. It just doesn't give, you know, it's like a waterfall. You know, the water just, it rains, water collects on a flat roof. It's pretty, you know, simple to understand. And then eventually it has to roll off, and it's, as the boat tips side to side or sits back, which when these boats are in the water, like most boats, it does sit at an angle a little bit back. That's why there really wasn't a lot of water intrusion in the front of the boat. There was more in the back. So this is gonna at least send the water away from the cabin, and it'll, you know, it probably isn't a perfect solution, but I think it slows it down. And then I'm gonna stain these, so it's, you know, the fact that it's cedar, it's gonna be well stained with Sikkens. It's got that cap. I mean, I'm just extending the life of this boat. I'm not thinking it's going to be here in 100 years. So I don't even need it to be here in 100 years. So that's what I've been up to. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to continue on. Well, I have one other thing I'm kind of working on. So this is the canopy. It's like a fold down canopy that goes on the front of the boat there. It bolts up. You can see these piano hinges. It bolts up to the front of the boat, and it flips up with some arms, and it makes like a little bit of shade. I'd say like half the front becomes shaded. And then it folds down, probably for transportation is what they were thinking, to protect some of the front of the boat, you know, for like maybe rocks hitting the sliding glass doors or whatever, which, you know, is a decent idea. But the problem is, if you're out there, you know, on the water, and a windstorm comes up, I mean, these things just function as a sail. The wind will come up, and then it'll want to try to get over the boat, and it'll just hit the canopy, if you can picture that. And then it's, you know, it wreaks havoc. I mean, these are already, you can see the, you know, there's some cracks in the material that's covering the aluminum framing. So what I've been thinking about doing is moving these piano hinges up to the top of the canopy. So I would move these up like this to here. And then what I would do is, instead of it being able to fold down, it would fold up, and it would go and it would lay on the roof of the shanty boat. The purpose of that would be if, you know, we're ever anchored, or I mean, if some serious winds come up, I'm going to be doing my best to try to get anchored into some protected cove of some sort. But if we see it coming, I could just go up onto the roof, I could pull it up and secure it down. Then it would be flush with the roof, and it would not be functioning as a sail or a wind block when the wind comes up and trying to come over. So I lose my protection during transportation of the front, but I'm not really too worried about that, to tell you the truth. I'm thinking I have about, I don't know, 120 watts of solar, like an old, very simple solar system. 3 panels. It goes into a very simple control box that would just power one battery. I'm thinking about mounting those here. 1, 2, 3. And so when it's deployed, I would be getting some solar, but during transportation, I would have it flipped up, and the solar panels would be facing down, and they would be protected. So that's about the best I've come up with this. The only other idea I have for this particular detail of the boat is just not to put it on at all. I mean, we can certainly live without shade on the front of the boat. I mean, at one time I was thinking about having the canopy come all the way out to the front, and then having canvas and you know, bug netting, so we could sit out there and have like a screen room. And I have seen some that are like that, but this boat might not be worth that much effort. I would say if it's floating in a year and it's doing its job and it hasn't given me any trouble, and, you know, I will think about doing some of these further modifications. But I'm either leaning towards just leaving the canopy off entirely, and then if we need shade, we go inside and we close the screen door, or we go to shore and we get under a tree, or we go swimming, or, you know, whatever. So or just do it like I said, where it gets out of the way on top. If you have any thoughts on that, you know, feel free to put it in the comments section. I'll certainly listen. I'm going to probably hold off on this until the next time I work on it. I'm going to finish up this roof ridge. Say that 3 times fast. Okay, guys. Well, I hope this was interesting. I'm still working on it. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not giving up. This thing's still going to be launched in about a month and a half, is my guess, or 6 weeks, something like that. Kind of see how things go. I still got a lot of work to do on the inside, but I'm working on it. So, hope you guys are doing well. Catch you later.